Math 2, Module 2, practice problems 2.1 to 2.7, third page, so questions number 9 through 18. Identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry of the graph of the function. Well, this is in vertex form. X plus 2, so that's a negative x coordinate at 2, and then minus 4, the y coordinate does match. And then my axis of symmetry is a vertical line through the vertex, so that would be x equals negative 2. Number 10, find the indicated value when f of x equals x squared plus 4x plus 3 and g of x equals negative x squared minus 4x minus 1. This is just evaluating functions using function notations. So I'm just going to use 1 as my input and plug that in for my x values of f and solve. I always input with parentheses just to be careful, especially when I get to these negative numbers. But 1 squared plus 4 plus times 1 plus 3 would be 1 plus 4 plus 3. You could do these on your calculators. Either way, you should get a value of 8 here. And B, substituting negative 2 in. Again, be careful with your negatives, especially when you square them. So negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 3. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8. And then I have plus 3. 4 minus 8 plus 3 overall should give me a negative 1. Now I'm noticing function notation g of negative 1. So negative 1 is going to be my input into my g of x function. It is a negative x squared, so the negative of negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 1 minus 1. I'm going to bring my negative down. Negative 1 squared, though, was positive 1. Negative 4 times negative 1 would be plus 4, and then so the minus 1. Negative 1 plus 4 minus 1 overall would give me a value at 2. And then my final one, substituting 4 into my g function as my input, negative of 4 squared minus 4 times 4 minus 1. Negative 4 squared is 16. 4 times 4 would be a minus 16. And then still minus 1. So negative 16 minus 1 would give me overall a negative of 33. Lots of practice the past couple days of factoring the following product into 2 factors. So I have standard form of quadratics, right, where I'm in a of x plus b of x, or I'm sorry, ax squared plus bx plus c, and I want to get that in factor. So I want, for number 11, factors of 10. When I multiply, I get 10. When I add them, I get 7. Well, that would be 5 and 2. So this is x plus 5 times x plus 2. Doesn't matter the order I write these in. This could be x plus 2 first, then times x plus 5. I just have to make sure they multiply to get 5, which 5 times 2 equals, or I'm sorry, they multiply to get 10. 5 times 2 equals 10. They add to get 7. So this one, factors of 12 that sum up to 8. That would be 2 and 6. X plus 6. X plus 2. Factors of 25 that sum to 10. 5 and 5. So x plus 5 times x plus 5. If you wanted, you could write that as x plus 5, the quantity squared. This one I don't have a c term, which tend to throws us off. But let's make sure we're getting in the habit of just answering what the question is asking, which is saying to factor. This is my process for factoring trinomials. But if I have a binomial, I just want to see what these 2 terms have in common. X squared plus 4x, I can pull out my greatest common factor of x, and I would be left with x plus 4. This one, I have an x squared and a negative 49 So something that canceled when I multiplied to get negative 49. Well, since this is negative, I know that one of these is positive, one of them is negative. If they cancel out and I get 0 when I add them together, they have to be the same number. Square root of 49 is 7. X plus 7 times x minus 7. Factors of negative 18 that sum up to 3. Well, since this is negative, I know one of my numbers is going to be negative. One of them is going to be positive. I'm going to need to get 3 factors of 18. Well, 9 and 2, the difference there is 7, so that doesn't work. So 6 and 3. Since I want a positive, the 6 has to be the positive number. And I would have x minus 3 times x plus 6. Factors of, looking at 17, x squared minus 5x plus 6, so factors of 6, that sum to negative 5. Since they multiply to get a positive but add to get a negative, both of these are going to be negative, and it would be 3 times 2. X minus 2 times x minus 3. And then the last one, x squared plus x minus 2, so factors of negative 2 that sum up to 1. Since this is negative, one's positive, one's negative, it would be negative 1 plus 2 would give me positive 1.